Welcome back to the Rock and Roll Ghost podcast. This week we have Andre Xcellence, otherwise known as Xcellence, with us today. He's a multifaceted performer, artist, and he's here to promote his new single, Buy Me Some Love, which is available now to listen in any one of your favorite streaming platforms. How are you doing today, Andre?
Excellent. Finally, thank you guys for having me today.
Oh,
I feel good. Life is good.
Good. Sorry, there's a guy behind you in a mask that's doing something, and I'm not sure he's behind your car. He's probably just getting into another car, but it was just strange. So you're in your car. You just
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You just got back from New York.
Yeah, today's been a day.
Today's what?
A little dog. I said today's been a day, but business doesn't stop. So I did an appearance today at an event in New York. So I flew back in. Getting off the plane, one of the ladies had the little dog with them, and the little dog ran under me, and then I slipped on the leash and fell and lost a tooth. This morning I was like, I went and got that fixed and back to normal, but it is what it is. So I'm in my car right now, but I wouldn't miss this podcast for the world.
I hear you. Thanks. I appreciate it. And so you're in West Hollywood now, correct? Or is that where you live?
Yeah. Well, I live in Beaver Canyon by the Hollywood Hills sign.
Okay.
So I have a house with a recording studio right by the Hollywood, by the sign. We do a lot of our music and stuff like that. I started in West Hollywood, but we moved to a bigger place with a built-in recording studio so we can work more organically.
Okay. And you grew up in Washington, D.C. Okay.
I did.
What was the move? What made you move from D.C. to California? Was just because that's where the music business is?
Yeah, I feel like entertainment is in either New York or LA for the most part. And I feel like I like the quality of life in LA a little bit better than New York. I love New York, don't get me wrong. But I like to drive. I like the open space. So I feel like LA is where it's at. I'm actually thinking about making a move back to East Coast because I just feel like it might be time. But I love LA. I do love it. And I feel like there's a lot of creatives that come here and work through here. So it was an opportunity to build with new people.
Gotcha. When did you move out? When did you move out to LA?
I maybe 8 years ago. Maybe 8 years ago.
Okay.
Time
so you're pretty.
I don't think about it.
Yeah. So you're pretty comfortable living out there. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love it. Where are you from?
Chicago.
Love Chicago. Except when it's cold. But it's
It's been a little warmer the last few years, but it still has its moments. Well, tell me a little bit about "Buy Me Some Love." Where did the inspiration come from for the song? And if fans want, they can obviously view it online. It's a kind of like a riff on a Beatles sort of a thing, including the video, which is like in fact, it has Ed Sullivan in it. But it's like their first Ed Sullivan appearance, but it's you playing every part. Well, tell me a little bit about how that came about, the song and the video.
So I rap is my number one principle, but I like all music. So it's always the Beatles have been a soundtrack for my life. I love the melodies. I love the songs. Some of the songs made me cry. They're happy. I just love. Have a real deep respect and love for them. This particular song, I feel like it's almost like my satire, my parody might come back to them saying, "Hey, in 2021, with everything going on in the world, OnlyFans, everything else, we can in fact buy love." Yeah. So it's kind of my retort to them, but still wanting to keep respect and difference to them, to the Beatles, but almost like witty, just fun, having some fun. So we're at Yankovic saying, "Hey, today we can buy love," just in this Bitcoin, free after pandemic world that we're going through. I feel like that was what it is. Also, I feel like there's a young hip hop has now become the genre, and there's a lot of different people telling the story of hip hop, but not as many people that are as cultured with different sounds. And I feel like the Beatles are a sound that a lot of urban and a lot of young youth don't really get. So I wanted to show them that there are different things to sample, different places. I didn't sample them. I used the same melody, but we made the whole record and just an ode to them. But I wanted to give them a little bit of shine because they are. You can't tell the story of pop without the Beatles. So that's kind of
right.
And then just after the pandemic, the song is from the place of the young cryptocurrency, Bitcoin person that's got a little bit of money and wants to go out and have fun after being locked away and just kind of being free. And it's just kind of a little bit naive, but just wanting to have fun in that space. That's where the story came from. That, but I was listening to it one night during the pandemic, and I'm just like, and I studied what happened with the Spanish flu, and I knew that there's going to be a period after that where we have like the Roaring '20s. I'm like, in this world, everybody's gonna be able to buy love. So that's where the idea to do the record started from.
Gotcha. And one of your things you're primarily known for is you're an out performer in hip hop, which is not as unusual of a thing nowadays. It's obviously hip hop has opened up over time. How did you feel? Yeah, how did you feel when you first started compared to where you are now in terms of being out and being able to represent who you are?
I feel like there was a point where I think I would have been in the music industry a little bit before. There's a point where I stopped rapping from there because the industry wasn't open and I didn't want to be fake. I live my life, yes, I'm out, man, but I don't, that's not like, for me, that's like one aspect of me. You know what I mean? I'm just never the average guy. I'm a super sports fan. I love my football, my basketball, I love my soccer. Like I like doing other things that don't have involved me being what my sexual preference, but I felt like they weren't as accepting. Mm-hmm. So I feel like over the last, I say 5 to 6, 7 years, it's getting better. Of course, there's a little Nas X in the world. He proved that you can make that you can be profitable and still do your thing. I do think his antics late as of recent are making people be a little bit more cautious. He took a little too far, but he proved the concept that you can make money and you can make music for everybody, not just for a niche. So I kind of just try to make my way in the world. I don't make that the focus of me. It is me all the time, but I don't make it. Right. I just want to make music for everybody. Like my goal is to make music that the world can have fun, celebrate, and continue to like something you can cherish and be the soundtrack of people's lives.
Yeah. Well, you have that song "Bring 'Em Out," where basically it's a big party anthem where everybody's invited, essentially. Yeah. And I think probably your generation and those younger than you are, especially at a point in their life, we're at a point in society where people are far more accepting now than they were in terms of your. See, I'm 50, so I'm like a Generation Xer, and I grew up with a lot of problems with that from friends and stuff like that, and I certainly saw hip hop as it started, and as it progressed, it was a very straight, very homophobic. Still is. It's going to take a long time. I mean, there's the culture still is there. That's against people that are not straight and all that. And there are people that still they don't even want women to vote or have jobs. So it's like, what do you we can't get past certain things in this country, in this world.
Isn't it? It's a shame, isn't it? It's like we take two steps forward and then one step back. It's like all the time. But I feel you.
Yeah. Well, it'll come a point when people your age and younger get to the positions of power where, hopefully, although you guys might end up finding that the generations that are kids then are doing stuff like you don't understand. It might be hard for you to fully grasp, but it's like it's a generational thing, really. It's just increments, unfortunately.
It is. I just try. For me, I like to adapt, and I feel like that's maybe one of the good things about the fact that I haven't reached a level of success and notoriety that I want just yet, because it forced me to adapt and change, and I like that now. I like to ride the wave, learn new things. I don't like to sound like everybody else, do everything what everybody else is doing, but I like to see what's going on, and there's some certain aspects of things I like, certain aspects I don't, and try to make my own sound, but still in keeping current and keeping evolving. If you look at some of the artists that are continuing to do it years after year, it's because they changed their sound. Like Jay-Z doesn't sound the same way he did in his first album. Right. Then there are artists who they were at a peak and they never changed, and then that sound kind of moved on. So I pride myself in always trying new stuff. I feel like lately, we're talking recently, I'm like, I don't consider myself a rapper. I make pop music. I make pop rap.
Right.
I don't think rap's gonna ever love me. I don't fit the box. I don't wear 18 gold chains. I don't have that, super machismo thing. Like in the video you talked about, I dress up as every member of the Beatles. So I wear wigs. I have fun. I'm not afraid to laugh at myself and just enjoy what I do. And there's no ego in what I do. And I feel like that's not going to fit in a box. Like my new record, Excellence I Am, is more pop rock. I'm, really with a little bit of Disney Gaston flair. I'm really having fun. Not really even rapping. The lyrics are very swaggy and very rap like, but I'm not really rapping. And I think, and I got to a point in my life, I just said, a case of the efforts, if you will, and said, look, I'm just gonna make the music to have fun. It's a synergy of different things, and just not worry about that being in that box. And if it makes me the weirdo, okay, cool. But I think it'll make something that people love.
Yeah. Well, one of the key moments for me in the last, I guess 10 years now. And for me, it's a shame that this person has kind of fallen in the background a bit, but somebody that came on the scene with a different perspective and doing a lot of interesting things, I thought was Frank Ocean. And I thought he was the harbinger of what's to come. And I feel kind of bad that he retreated from the limelight in a lot of ways.
He has. He had a label situation. It's funny you said that. Someone sent me a message yesterday. He's headlining Coachella 2022.
Yeah, I saw that. He might be trying, but after Channel Orange, like he put out a few releases that were interesting, but for me, like the Channel Orange was an album in 2012 I listened to on repeat, and I just felt like he was kind of skating by or trying to find something new maybe, and it just wasn't connecting.
He got experimental. And I think if there were he changed labels and he got out of his label deal, and
I know he had a problem with Def Jam.
Yeah. And I think a lot of these guys, some of these guys, when they get on and they make their sound and then they want to change like what their sound is or go different ways, and there's label issues and they start feeling themselves. So I think he took a little bit of a moment to do that. It sucks as a consumer because you're like, you want more of that content. But I feel like, I'm hoping he finds his way.
I would just like to see him express himself no matter what. And he has been kind of, that's why I'm excited about the idea of Coachella for him. Mm-hmm. It might mean that new stuff is on the horizon. And I just want to see him. I want to see people that have a different perspective flourish, quite honestly. But I think that starting with him, I think there started to become the opening to new, what else could be done in hip hop, I think. And especially with his, admitting to being bisexual, that was a real
thing.
Yeah. Just a huge moment, and I don't think people were completely ready for it. I think that album would have done a lot bigger if probably he hadn't said that, I think. I'm sure people at the label were probably not exactly thrilled, but you could see that, but people have to be who they are, man.
Agreed. I think they probably weren't thrilled at first, but then they realized, wait a minute, there's a whole different demographic that we can reach out.
Exactly. And I think that's one thing people don't understand.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the record labels are businesses. They want to make their money. So they'll cookie cutter, and if they can, but when you show them the concept, they're like, oh, okay. Like what I'm seeing with Lil Nas X right now. Then again, I feel like he's personally taking a little too far from me as being an out man, and the whole thing with the devil, and I don't know that.
Yeah, I saw about that. That was a little strange.
But I see the label and him kind of doubling down, saying this is who I am, this is what it is, because they realize, okay, we might not get all of the money, but there's still a big market that you can go from there. So that is growth, and I do think you're right. I think Frank Ocean kind of opened the door a little bit for that.
Yeah, and one thing I've always been, with Hollywood movies, with music, is that people don't realize that every so often, you need to, if you're looking at somebody that has their shit dialed in, let them fly with it, because it's a risk, but it could pay off huge. And the thing is, everybody's so worried about, that's one reason why music, to me, in the last 20 years, and I'm talking about pretty much all music, rock, pop, hip hop, has felt a little repetitive in a lot of ways. I still feel like we could we could draw a line from Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys in 98, 99 to now. And in that kind of time in the past, music would shift 5 times over. And it still feels like we're trapped in a certain way of doing. I mean, Max Martin is still writing everybody's songs. I mean, you know, it's like nobody's allowing people to really bust out, you know, unfortunately. People hit outside the margins, that's for sure. And that's something that I see you doing. But it's like overall, there's nobody allowing that risk on a big scale, unfortunately. And I think that if they stopped overthinking it, they would find more dividends to the business end.
I agree. I think it's twofold, and it's one of the things I'm working with now. Like, I'm still independent, you know, building up, so I can get to a partnership with to find the right label home that understands and will let me take chances and do things different. I think that, you know, so I'm looking for that actively, but I'm building as the audience as I go to get to that, because I don't want to be cookie cutter and be locked in. I think a lot of it came with when we had the Napsters and then the piracy and the loss of music, and then there was a point where they lost so much money that they felt like, okay, we can't take a chance anymore. Like I took meetings years ago, and they're like, we love it, but A&Rs, we love it, but you know, if I take a risk on it and it doesn't do well, then, you know, I'm fired. And they're not developing the artists anymore. Now they want you to come in and have all the social media, have all this stuff already done. And the only risk they take are people that they either know have a certain music, like you said, a certain sound that's safe, that they know they can get the return on investment. You know, and that's some of the things I struggle with. Like, I spend so much time working on mastering my music. Now I'm working on mastering outreach and building the fans. I thought I could build it, become this thing, and then a label helped me develop that. And I'd go to meetings and they're like, yo, your music's doper than X, but that guy has 1 million streams and 1 million followers right now on Instagram. So we got to go there because we know we're going to get it back. And it was a bitter pill to swallow, but you know, and one actual A&R said, look, we haven't figured out how to really monetize. We are hurting right now. We need to figure that out. So they're not doing that development anymore. We want to total package. It's why you get the bad babies and the artists who aren't even musicians, who they can come in and bring the sound to, and they can make music. So I think it's changing with streaming now that they're able to figure out a definite way to like lock everybody in. I hope it'll get better, but it is still something that I struggle with, and I'm still trying to figure a way out, because I want to be able to do, you know, I want to be able to be like Queen and David Bowie and bring out different stuff and just go just a different level and have that fun and be free. But there's always a worry. We have to find that label or that team that's going to go, let's support it, let's go there and take it there. And I think they're more happy with the Britneys or that certain sound that's in the box, like you were saying.
Yeah. You know, one thing I think is interesting, and I think especially for an independent artist like you, and especially considering the past year, what did you do to kind of get by in terms of, you know, I mean, you're not on a label, you weren't doing shows presumably for most of the year, or appearances, or I don't even know what. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know what everybody does to make money.
It was hard. It's hard. I've been spending more than I've been bringing in, trying to keep things going and building to that. That's the conversation I've been having with my team now. I'm like, look, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking to partner with the right home to build that, because I don't want to just be a niche artist. I want to take it to that level. I want to compete. For me, it's not even fame. Fame comes with being great with what you do. I want to compete. I know I make music that's on the level of those things, and so I want to take it there. And it's frustrating because I've had to spend, you know, a lot of people said, hey, during the pandemic, shut it down, just take a break, take a break. But for me, I make music so much. If I don't, it's like my therapy. I have to keep creating. So I spend a lot of money putting stuff out, spending independent, finding different ways, doing different playlists. You know, it's cost me a lot, and it's like, but I feel like I can breathe a little bit. I had a friend of mine who's an actor, and he shut his stuff down during the pandemic. And he just recently got a new acting school and class. And he's like, he told me, and he was in tears. He's like, I feel like I can breathe again. I just felt like I was suffocating. And for that, I couldn't do that. So that I've been just trying to get by the way I can. And just now trying to figure out my way as far as how to make it make sense again. You know, I told my team, I'm like, I want to do shows because I can perform and turn on a show like no one's ever seen. I'm like, let me get and do that. And so I can build something up from there. But yeah, it was hard for sure.
Yeah. Is there anything you avoid? Like you were saying, like you don't want to be known uh, just as an out performer, but so do you avoid uh, doing more, I guess, gay friendly things because you're trying to be? I mean, how does that work? How do you
No,
decide which way to go with your career? It's got to be a lot of thought involved in it, like about taking this job or taking that job.
no, not at all. I mean, I'm known within the LGBTQ scene. I did, I had my first record label was American Commission, and we had producers in LA. We produced some of the famous drag queens, like Shangela, who's got the show We're Here. She's a good
Yeah.
friend. I produced her records. I produced Manila Luzon. I produced Laganja. T.S. Madison, her whole EP, her whole first project, I wrote it, right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of, that in that scene, I felt like for me, when I started to focus on me, I said, look, I want to compete. I know I have lyrics, I have bars. I want to compete with the Jay-Z's and the Kanye's and the this, that world. So it has nothing to do with that, the LGBTQ market. But for me, I want to be known when you tell the story of hip hop, I want to be able to compete, and I think I
Right.
can. So I kind of focus on that. I never wanted to make a record where I say like only lyrics that speak to a game market or this market, hip hop market. I make songs by design that anybody can latch onto because I like that music anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't not a conscious thing for me. It's just more like I want to compete. Like I just, I wake up and I look at like some of the charts and I'm a study of the game and I'm just like, man, I want that opportunity to show what I can do.
Right.
Yeah. Like I'm the old school. I want to be like
Yeah.
the old LL Cool J when he would do his 4-3-2-1, and you have all those like classic artists on one record, and they're all going for it and giving you their best. Like I'm I'm waiting for that moment. I can be on the Kanye Monster record and kind of do those type of things. That to me will be like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, there is certainly a way to have a career and put yourself in a box, the LGBTQ box, and have a career. You could definitely, earn a good living and go your whole life making, marketing towards just that audience. Which there's certainly no shame in it. But I totally get also that I think for out people, they have to reach into all fabrics of society, and not just for to push their own art, but to push the themselves and the culture into a place where people are familiar with it, so they're not so afraid of it.
Yep.
As well.
Yep. I want to, yeah. I pride myself on when I get to that moment, I can work with some of these artists and they go, okay, he's gay, but he's not, he's just a regular guy. He's just like one of the guys. It's not about that, because I really do think that some artists that don't care. They just don't, they want to make sure that they know that they want to make sure that their audience is not politics. Like I'm not putting religion and politics in it. It's just about music and making good music. So it's like I pride myself, and when I get the opportunity, I want to show like, look, oh, this guy's dope. Forget what he his beliefs are or whatever, and he can just get in, he can compete, and he's on that level. That to me will be the icing on the cake. Like I'm a student again. My favorite rappers were Biggie and Jay-Z, and even going back, like growing up, MC Lyte, and just classic people who can do that principle on that level. And for me, that's that's all I want to be able to show, that it doesn't matter what your preference is or what you just if you're dope, you're dope.
Yeah. Well, one thing I do want to ask, and I because it's in the news, and I just feel like I have to ask you. And I wasn't, when I was getting this set up, it certainly wasn't on my mind then, but because it's become a thing, is this guy DaBaby, and what's going on with him lately. And he keeps trying to explain himself, and it's just like Governor Cuomo today trying to explain himself after the Attorney General investigation came out that he sexually harassed a bunch of people. They're not doing very well at explaining themselves.
No.
And in DaBaby's case, I mean, he was just pulled out of Lollapalooza this weekend, which I thought was a little late, but he pulled out of everything.
It was crazy because I think he might have been there. Yeah. So I try not to for me, I have strong opinions on things, and I feel like right now I'm in the like kissing babies mode and being friendly and building audience and not cutting away. But I do have a strong opinion about it. I feel like his comments were ridiculous, ridiculous, over the top, short-sighted, and I feel like instead of listening when people said, "Hey," and I listen. I get it. He's from he may not have got what he said and the heaviness and what he said, how it offended people. But if someone sits you down and goes, "Hey, this offended an audience, a big market," you know what I mean? Whether you said the HIV line, you weren't talking about the HIV epidemic devastated a generation of gay people. You're hurting people's feelings. You're talking about what people in the parking lot doing, like it was a lot. And then I think his mistake was when someone comes to you, like I know sometimes I'm gonna say stuff that might offend people. If someone sits me down and says, "Hey, this offended this person, this hurt this person," I can listen and go, you know what? I may not get it, but I have to understand if I hurt someone's feelings and go. And I think what really hurt is he doubled down. He's like,
"That's exactly it."
And I'm like, "Whoa, you took it there." So, but you know what? You know how they get. You know how people get you. They're gonna. You don't want to expect. You don't want to tone down your rhetoric. Fine, they're gonna affect your pockets. So I think when Lollapalooza said X, and it's funny because they waited till the last. They commented on it, but they waited till the last moment. Which was he there? Like that would have been a lot. You're main eventing.
I don't know.
I think he was there. They're main eventing in there and took you off. Boom. So then that. Then you had other people in the community. They commented. You had Dia Lupo on a record with him. She commented. She's like, I don't even know the first. You know what I mean? Then Governor's Ball canceled him. So now it's affecting his pockets, right? And now he's apologizing. The problem is, and I've listened to a lot. I just had the conversation recently, and everybody's like, some people are like, your apologies mean nothing because we know what you really felt the second time. So now it's like you're doing it because you're losing money. Is that real? Right. And I'm sure years as he might have a problem. You don't want to smoke with me. That's not the point. I'm a fan of his music, but I'm disappointed in the behavior. It's unacceptable. Period.
Well, what I often wonder when people are that strong, like you see this happen in a lot of politicians, the strongest anti-gay, strongest anti-abortion people, like, politicians find out they got their girlfriend who they're married, but they got their girlfriend pregnant, so they got them an abortion, or they find that guy in a bathroom stall with another dude.
Exactly.
Like, it's not that nobody's upset that you are that way. It's the fact that you're a hypocrite and you're punishing people for being who you are. And I've thought about this, and I always think about somebody that is so adamantly against something like homosexuality and HIV and the AIDS culture. If either something happened to them when they were young, and I'm not saying that anything happened to the baby. I'm just saying that you often wonder, people have these things because either something happened to them or they are that thing. And I'm not saying that that's the case here, but I'm just saying that that's the thought that goes into my head, because otherwise I don't know why you're so angry about it.
Agree. And that's what I tell people all the time. I'm a pop person. I'm like, I don't care what you do. What you do in your own house is your business. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I can tell people all the time, I'm like, I don't live and let live. As long as you're not offending, hurting anybody, you know what? In your own household, you can teach what you want to your family and your rules and value systems, but don't lord your value systems over someone else. I feel like religion played a part in it because of one line in the Bible, in the Old Testament, that was there. This is the same Old Testament. I read the Bible. This same Old Testament that talked about being a slave and the best slave you can be and all types of abhorrent things that they ignore. But you take this one line and you're still lording it over people. And you just ruin people's lives. People have died over it. It's like, let it go. I agree with you. I think some politicians and some people ride a wave because they feel like their constituents, their market, that's what their constituents want. And instead of being man enough to build up and say, look, I get it, but if I can't like agree with it, they ride that wave because they want to stay elected. And that's a travesty in and of itself. But yeah, there are some people who you have to question, why are you going so strongly about something? Is there something in your past, something you did you have to confront on your own? Because I wouldn't do that. I don't care.
Right. Well, you see that with politicians right now trying to defend what Trump did and what happened on January 6th and acting as if it was something that it's not. And I feel like sometimes I'm going crazy when people see the world in such a different viewpoint than what reality is, and it's disturbing. It's disturbing to live in a world like that, but I don't know. Well, yeah. Let me ask you what are your next plans? What do you got coming up? What's on the close horizon for you?
I have a single that just dropped Friday called "Excellence I Am."
Okay.
It's very much, it was a remake of the old Henry VIII rock record.
Yeah.
Henry I
Yeah.
Am.
Yeah.
I realized it was intellectual property. So if you see in public domain, it's a 100-year-old record. Herman and the Hermits did it in the 60s, and they got it. And then I heard it as a child watching Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg. When he sings it to her because she wouldn't do what he wanted overnight, it's like second verse, same as the first. I love the record. So I wanted to do something because I did get a little pushback in United Kingdom for Buy Me Some Love, because people thought I'm taking advantage of the Beatles. I'm like, no, I love them. I love them. There's nothing to do with that. So I wanted to show, hey, I have a deep love for Britpop and for the United Kingdom, and I wanted to do that record. So mine is like Excellence I Am, and it's almost like my theme song. I think one of my interviewers that I was talking to was like, who's this guy? Who are you? And I'm like, who am I? Let me tell you who I am. And I kind of did that, and it's like that theme, but it's fun. It's pop rock with a little hip hop splash, and it's like it's almost like if and the coin phrase is big D energy, and they're like, what's that? And like, it's big dynamite, big. It could be anything you want, and it's like, but it's like confidence, and it's just like very much like if Gaston was doing a record, doing a bit in a bar, doing that kind of that record. That's the next single. And then I have another one, which is a huge record. I was debating to put that out. It was going to be called Ass Man, but I feel like I'm having issue in Asia and certain countries with the word Ass Man. So it's going to be called Identify. But it's just more back to me doing fun stuff to make people smile, over the top, like not over the top videos, but videos that are like not just standing with a bunch of people and money, but having fun, doing something different, and just getting people more immersed in the world of excellence and like the fun I want to have. I want people to have fun again. Like I just want people to dance, celebrate. I want when you come to my show, we're gonna celebrate and just just rock out, that type of record. So the next two records are gonna be Excellence I Am and then Identify.
Awesome. Is there anything I'm missing that you feel like we should discuss? I feel like we covered a lot of topics, and I have a feeling that your topical agent for your dental issue will start wearing off soon. So I don't want to keep you talking too much longer. But is there anything else that you need to put out there?
I enjoyed the conversation. Just my social media is at Andre Xcellence, ANDRE XCELLENCE. My music is just under Excellence with the exclamation point.
Right.
I just, again, I'm just trying to grow and build. If you want to take a chance on an artist who's going to give you a little bit of everything and have fun and just turn up, and it's like you said, you're going to take chances and be original again, I'm that artist for you. If you're a label, independent or otherwise, and you want someone who wants to make music and make the soundtrack of people's lives forever, like I'm not doing it for money. I'm okay. This is not for me. We had a conversation really with one of my team, and it's like, what happens when you have that first record that sells millions and you make millions of dollars? Are you going to take a break? I'm like, no. That's like, let's get back in the studio and let's do it again and again and again and again. Like, I want to do this. This is what I love. I would do it for free, but I want to get, if I figure out how to get paid for it, it's like it gives my point of being. So if you're looking for an artist that's going to give you an experience and bring back something special and not do what everybody tells them they should do and have fun, I'm the guy for you.
Awesome. Well, Andre, I thank you very much for doing this today, and I'll definitely let you know when this is up. It should be next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you taking the time today, and I wish you the best of luck.
It was a pleasure, brother. I'm going to send you the record afterwards. I'll send you the next song, your next single. I'll send you this one and the other one afterwards. And you tell me what you think. I think you'll love them.
All right. I like the stuff I've heard so far, so I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so
much.
much.
All right, man. You take care. Be safe and be well.
You too, brother. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.